Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Tony Holowitz, and in this tutorial I am going to try to wrap up some of my thoughts on working with layouts in ACT. In the previous tutorials that I've done, I've talked a lot about things that most people want to know about when it comes to working with layouts. But you get to a point when working with layouts that I think there can be a lot of frustration, not because the things I'm going to suggest here are hard to do, it's just things that I'm going to suggest, if you have experience doing this and you do this on a regular basis, it can be hard, but not quite as frustrating. I personally think some of this stuff can get very frustrating to the average ACT user because you really have to consider a lot of things when doing certain things in ACT. So I'm going to run through a bunch of things that can be time consuming and frustrating when it comes to working with layouts. So let me show you that to start with. First of all, I'm going to go up to Tools and I'm going to go to Design Layouts and I'm going to click on Contact. And that's going to open up on my other monitor, so I'm going to bring it back over. Now, when you're working with a layout, as I had mentioned before, you have to think about a lot of things. You have to think about monitor resolution of other users using X so you know how much can fit on the screen. For example, if I want to move things, these are all items right here, and I can take all of these and move them all over here. But wait a minute, by doing that, I missed the checkboxes that I had created. So little things like this, making sure you've selected all the proper information and moving it can be a little frustrating. I'm going to do undo and show you that I'm going to grab all of this information, the checkboxes included, and now I can move it. Now, if I put this too far off the screen, people with a different monitor resolution might not be able to see it. I'm just going to leave that there for now. Next, I'm going to come down here to user fields, and I want to illustrate that you can actually take user fields and move them right away from here and put them up here, for example. So you can move things around. You can also, let's say we want to take the phone and we want to put it over here and maybe take user 10 and put it over here. Well, this isn't that hard. It's all just drag and drop, so it's fairly easy. But as an experienced ACT user, you probably recognize the fact that when you're in a field in ACT and you want to go to the next field, you can hit the tab key. Once we start moving things around, it messes up the tab order. So when we work with these things, we mess up the tab order. There's also an enter order. And when we work with items like fields, we can change the size of them like this. We can make them bigger or smaller. We can do all kinds of things with it. We can change the alignment of something by aligning it center or maybe all the way over to the right. We can change the color, the font styles of certain items. We can make this, for example, pink. We can make it bold. Okay, we can make it italic, underlined. There's all kinds of things we can do here. And these are the subtle little things that are easy to work with and go in and change if you have some time on your hands. But it's the subtle little things that an experienced ACT certified consultant can help you get through and by. They're things that you're not considering when working with layouts. And all my experience has been layouts can be very frustrating for the average user once you really start getting involved in this. On the surface, it seems easy, but in the long run, all the things you add and all the things you do, it can just make this a crazy nightmare if you're not careful. Let me just show you some other things. And again, I'm going around in a lot of areas here because I really think this is the kind of thing you have to consider having someone come talk to you about this or work with you on this. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go to View. And I want to show you what's called tab stops. Right now it says Show Tab Stops. I'm going to click on that. And these numbers are the tab stops. Now remember I took user 10 and I dragged it in here? If I left this the way it was, you'd click in this field when working with ACT, hit the tab key, you'd go here, tab key here, tab key here. But then the next time you hit the tab key, you'd go way over here and then here. So as you start adding fields, you want to change the tab order. There's some practice in doing that. I'm going to come back up here and go View, go to Tab Stops, and go and click on Show Tab Stops to take it off. If I want to clear them all so I could start from scratch, I could clear there. I don't recommend that. Again, I'm going to go View, and then I'm going to do Enter Stops. Enter Stops is a quick way of allowing you to jump around the Act screen. So for example, you could go from this column to this column to this column. And there's different tab stops. They start with 0, 1, 2. So if you hit the Enter key when you're in this field, you'll go here. You hit it again, you'll go here. Hit it again, you'll go here. Tab stops, it would have been you start here, you hit Tab Stop, go there. And when I say Tab Stop, it's the Tab key on your keyboard. Then you'd go here and so forth. So working with these layouts, it starts to get a little bit confusing. Let's go a little bit further. I'm going to go View, and I'm going to go and not show the tab stops. Let's go View, and let's go to the Properties window. Okay. Over here on the right-hand side are the properties. So if we click in a field, we can see the properties of that field. We can edit the location, which means just where it is on the screen, the size, the colors. We can do all kinds of things here. If we want to modify the background color here, we can modify the background color. It's a light green. We can make it orange, for example. So what happens here is that my experience, again, has been that once you start getting really involved in this, then you can get really complicated and you can spend a lot of time really messing this stuff up. Now, on that note, I do recommend when you're working with a layout, always do a save as. So if I was modifying a layout and really messing around with it, go up and go File, Save As, and give the layout you're messing with a new name. So that way, if you really mess it up, you can just go back to the previous layout. So in this tutorial, I just wanted to strongly urge you to consider working with someone experienced when it comes to fine-tuning layouts and dealing with layouts, because you can do it to a certain level, no doubt, but you're going to hit a point where you can really make a mess out of it if you don't have enough experience with it or time on your hands. So that's really what I want to show you here. There's a lot more you can do with the layouts, but a lot of it comes down to time and energy that you have to devote to it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tony Holowitz, and I want to thank you for being part of these layout tutorials, and I hope this was helpful and gave you some insights. Thank you very much.